The morning started like any other at Earth's United Space Command in Seoul. Commander Kim Tae was drinking his coffee and reading reports when every screen in the building went black. Not just the computers, every device with a screen, including phones, tablets, and even the digital clocks on the microwave ovens. Then came the voice. It spoke in perfect Korean, but somehow Kim Tae knew that everyone else in the world was hearing it in their own language at the same time. The voice was calm, cold, and absolutely terrifying in its certainty. People of Earth, we are watching you. We have been watching you for a very long time. You have begun to search for us among the stars. This must stop. Cease all attempts to locate us. Abandon your deep space exploration programs and your search for other intelligent life. If you continue, your world will burn. This is your only warning. The voice stopped. Every screen flickered back to life. Kim Tae's coffee cup was still warm in his hands, but the world had changed forever. Within minutes, his office was full of people. Park Soo, the head of the language department, burst through the door first. She was carrying 3 different tablets and looked like she had been running. "Commander, we need to talk right now," she said, breathing hard. "This message, it's impossible." "What do you mean impossible?" Kim Tae asked, though he already knew the answer would not be good. The message was broadcast in over 200 languages at the same time, not translated, spoken. Each version was perfect with the right accent for each region. Whoever sent this knows our languages better than we do. Lee Wan, the director of Earth's deep space program, arrived next. He was a big man who usually moved slowly, but today he was almost running. "Kim, we have a problem. All our deep space probes just went silent."
Every single one.
"But they're not broken. Someone is controlling them." Kim Tae felt a cold weight in his stomach. "What do you mean, controlling them?" "Watch this," Lee Wan said, pulling up a screen. "This is the probe near Jupiter. It was heading away from the planet. Now look." On the screen, Kim Tae watched as the probe slowly turned around and began heading back toward Earth. It moved smoothly, as if someone was driving it like a car. "They're sending all our probes home," Lee Wan continued, like a parent telling children to come inside for dinner. "But that's not the worst part." "What's the worst part?" Kim Tae asked, though he really did not want to know. "The probe near Jupiter should take 6 hours to receive commands from Earth because of the distance. But this control is happening instantly. They're ignoring the laws of physics." Park Soo looked up from her tablets. "Commander, I found something else." The voice, "I ran it through our computers. It's not just speaking our languages perfectly. It's using speech patterns that show they understand how humans think. The way they said your world will burn, that's exactly how a human would threaten another human to get the strongest reaction." Kim Tae set down his coffee cup. It was getting cold anyway. "So they know our languages, they can control our technology instantly across the solar system, and they understand human psychology." "What else?" "Sir," a young technician called from the doorway. "You need to see this. All the world's satellites just went dark." Kim Tae and the others rushed to the main control room. The huge wall screen that usually showed Earth surrounded by hundreds of tiny lights representing satellites now showed just a dark ball floating in space. "All of them?" Kim Tae asked. "Every single satellite around Earth just shut down 60 seconds ago," the technician replied. "Communications, weather, GPS, military, civilian, everything. How long can we survive without satellites?" Lee Wan asked. "About a week before things get really bad," the technician said. 2 weeks before society starts breaking down." Kim Tae stared at the dark screen. Whoever these aliens were, they could end human civilization without firing a single weapon, just by turning off the lights. But something was bothering him. If these aliens were so powerful, why give a warning at all? "Park Soo," he said. "You said they understand human psychology. What's the first thing humans do when someone tells them not to do something?" Park Soo thought for a moment, then her eyes went wide. "We do it anyway. Humans always do exactly what they're told not to do." "Right. So if these aliens are so smart about humans, they would know that threatening us would just make us more determined to find them." Lee Wan nodded slowly. "You think they want us to keep looking?" "I think," Kim Tae said, "that nothing about this makes sense. If they can turn off every satellite on Earth, why not just destroy us? Why waste time with warnings?" "Maybe they're not as strong as they want us to think," Park Soo suggested. "Or maybe they don't actually want to hurt us," Lee Wan added. Before Kim Tae could respond, all the lights came back on the wall screen. Every satellite was working again, exactly as if nothing had happened. How long were they off? Kim Tae asked. Exactly 60 seconds, sir. Kim Tae felt a chill. The aliens had turned off every satellite in Earth's orbit for exactly 1 minute, then turned them all back on perfectly. That took incredible power and control, but it also took incredible care not to cause any real damage. They're showing off, he said quietly. Sir? The technician asked. They're showing us what they can do, but they're being very careful not to actually hurt anyone. Think about it. If they wanted to destroy us, we'd already be dead. If they wanted to cripple us, they'd leave the satellites off. Instead, they turned them off just long enough to scare us, then turned them back on. Park Soo was nodding, like a parent taking away a toy to show they can, then giving it back. But why? Lee Wan asked. Kim Tae looked at the screen showing Earth surrounded by its protective ring of satellites.
I don't know.
But I'm going to find out. Sir, with respect, they just threaten to destroy the world if we keep looking for them. Kim Tae smiled for the first time since the morning began. Lee Wan, in your entire career, have you ever known humans to stop doing something just because someone told them it was dangerous? Lee Wan thought about it, then started grinning too. No, sir. Usually that just makes us more interested. Exactly. These aliens claim to understand humans so well. Let's see how they handle what happens when you threaten a human and tell them to stop exploring. Park Soo was looking worried. Commander, what if they're serious about destroying Earth? Kim Tae picked up his coffee cup. It was cold now, but he drank it anyway. Then we'll find out what humans do when someone tries to take away their curiosity. Spoiler alert. It never ends well for the person doing the threatening. Outside the windows of the command center, Seoul continued its daily life. People walked to work, children played in parks, and nobody knew that somewhere out in the darkness between the stars, someone was watching and waiting to see what humanity would do next. Kim Tae had a feeling they were about to find out. 3 weeks after the first alien message, the world had split into 2 groups. Half the people wanted to hide under their beds and do exactly what the alien said. The other half wanted to go find these aliens and have a serious conversation about who exactly they thought they were threatening. Kim Tae was definitely in the second group. He stood in a secret meeting room deep under the mountains of South Korea. Around the table sat the smartest people on Earth, all working on what they had started calling Project Lighthouse. If the aliens wanted humans to stop looking for them, then humans were going to look harder than ever before. Show them what you found. Choi Min, Kim Tae said to the young woman at the end of the table. Choi Min was only 28, but she was already the best astrophysicist on the planet. She had black hair that she always kept in a messy bun and glasses that were constantly sliding down her nose. She also had a brain that worked like a computer except faster. I've been thinking about how someone could hide spaceships, she began, pulling up a holographic display. Perfect invisibility is impossible. Even if you can bend light around an object, it still has mass, and mass creates gravity. You can't hide gravity. She pointed to a series of equations floating in the air. So I built sensors that look for tiny changes in how space itself bends. If there are invisible ships out there, they're still pulling on space-time around them. Yoon Hai, the best pilot in the human fleet, leaned forward. Have you found anything? That's the weird part. I found lots of things. Hundreds of gravitational shadows scattered throughout our solar system. But they're all staying very still, like they're trying not to be noticed. Kang Do, a mathematician who could solve problems that made other smart people cry, spoke up. I found something too. I was studying cosmic background radiation. That's the leftover energy from when the universe began. It should be random, like static on an old radio. He brought up his own display showing wave patterns that looked like music made of light. But it's not random. Someone has been editing it, changing tiny parts to hide information. It's like someone painted over a picture, but if you know how to look, you can still see what was underneath. Lee Wan, who had been quietly taking notes, looked up. What kind of information? Location data. Communication frequencies. It's like finding pieces of a torn-up map scattered across the entire universe. Kim Tae felt excitement building in his chest. Humans were doing what humans did best, taking a problem that seemed impossible and breaking it down until it made sense. What's our next step? He asked. Yoon Hai stood up. She was small and quiet, but when she climbed into a spaceship, she could make it dance. I want to take the new stealth ship out to investigate one of these gravitational shadows. The Silent Thunder has engines that barely touch space-time. If something is hiding out there, I can get close without them knowing. That sounds incredibly dangerous, Park Soo said. She had joined the project as their expert on alien communication. Everything interesting is dangerous, Yoon-hai replied with a grin. Before Kim Tae could approve the mission, alarms started blaring throughout the facility. Red lights flashed and computer screens showed emergency messages. What's happening? Kim Tae shouted over the noise. A technician ran into the room. Sir, you need to see this. Something's happening to the moon. They rushed to the main observation deck. Through the reinforced windows, they could see the moon in Earth's sky. But something was wrong with it. It looked smaller. The moon just moved, the technician said, his voice shaking. One moment it was in its normal orbit, and the next moment it was 1,000 kilometers further away. Park Soo pulled out her tablet and started reading. I'm getting reports from observatories around the world. The moon has been moved exactly 1 kilometer further from Earth. That's impossible, Choi Min said. The energy required to move the moon would be like exploding 1 billion nuclear bombs. And yet there it is, Kang Do observed, sitting in its new orbit like someone picked it up and moved it to a different shelf. Kim Tae felt a cold weight in his stomach. The aliens were showing off again, but this time the message was much stronger. Moving satellites was impressive. Moving the moon was terrifying. How long can the moon stay in the wrong orbit before it affects Earth? He asked. Tides will be different immediately, Choi Min calculated quickly. But if they leave it there permanently, it could affect our weather, our oceans, even the length of our days. Sir, the technician called out. I'm receiving another transmission. Same source as before. The voice filled the room, speaking in that same calm, cold tone that had changed everything 3 weeks ago. People of Earth, you did not listen. You continue to search for us. You continue to probe the darkness between worlds. We moved your moon to show you our power. We can move it further. We can move it away entirely. End your search now, or lose the light that guides your nights forever. The transmission ended. The room was quiet except for the sound of people breathing. They moved the moon, Lee Wan said quietly. They actually moved the moon. Yes, Kim Tae replied. But notice what they didn't do, sir. They didn't move it into Earth, they didn't throw it into the sun, they didn't break it apart. They moved it exactly 1 kilometer, just enough to scare us but not enough to actually hurt us. Yoon-hai was nodding. It's like the satellites all over again. They're showing us what they can do, but they're being very careful not to cause real damage. Why would they care about not hurting us if they're planning to destroy us anyway? Park Soo asked. Maybe, Choi Min said slowly, because they don't actually want to destroy us. Kim Tae looked around the room at the brightest minds humanity had to offer. They were scared. He could see it in their faces. But they were also curious, and curiosity was stronger than fear in the human heart. They're still trying to scare us into stopping, he said. But think about this. If they can move the moon, they can certainly destroy our space probes. Why haven't they? Because, Kang Do said, understanding dawning on his face, they want us to find them. Exactly. Every threat they make just proves they don't want to hurt us. They want our attention. Yoon-hai was already moving toward the door. Then let's go give them what they want. I'm taking the Silent Thunder out tonight. Wait, Kim Tae called. It's too dangerous. Yoon-hai turned back with a smile that reminded Kim Tae why humans had conquered their own planet, and were now reaching for the stars. Commander, dangerous is just another word for interesting, and this is the most interesting thing that's ever happened to humanity. As she left to prepare her ship, Kim Tae looked up at the moon in its new, wrong orbit. Someone out there was playing games with humanity. They were about to learn that humans loved games, especially when the stakes were high. He just hoped they all survived finding out who would win. The Silent Thunder was the most advanced ship humanity had ever built, but it did not look like much. It was small, dark, and shaped like a knife blade cutting through space. Yoon-hai loved it like other people loved their pets. Systems check, Namji, she said to the engineer floating beside her in the cramped cockpit. Namji was the kind of person who could fix anything with spare parts and determination. She had kept the experimental engines running through 3 major breakdowns during testing. Quantum whisper engines are stable. We're putting out about as much energy signature as a flashlight. Communications ready, added Beho from his station behind them. He was monitoring every frequency humans had ever discovered, listening for any sign of alien chatter. They were 3 days out from Earth, heading toward a region of space that looked empty. but made Choi Min's gravity detectors scream warnings. Something massive was out there, invisible and waiting. Distance to target? Yunhai asked. 2 million kilometers, Namji replied. Whatever's out there, it's big. Really big. How big? If I'm reading these sensors right, it's about the size of Manhattan. But it's not showing up on any of our visual or radar systems. Yunhai felt her heart speed up. They were about to become the first humans to see an alien spacecraft. Assuming they lived through the experience, Beiho, anything on the communications? Wait, Beiho said, adjusting his headphones. I'm getting something. Very faint radio signals, but they're not aimed at us. It's like listening to someone else's phone conversation. Can you understand any of it? No, but I can record it for Park Soo to analyze later. If we have a later, we will, Yunhai said with more confidence than she felt. Humans don't die this easily. As they got closer, Namji's instruments started picking up more details. Yunhai, I'm reading multiple objects. Not just one big ship, lots of ships. How many ships? I stopped counting at 50. There might be hundreds. The three crew members looked at each other. A single alien ship was scary enough. An entire fleet was the stuff of nightmares. Are they moving? Yunhai asked. That's the weird thing. They're just sitting there. Most of them aren't even powered up. I'm reading minimal energy output from the whole fleet. Like they're sleeping, Beiho added. As they crept closer, their sensors began building a picture of what was hiding in the darkness. The ships were huge, each one large enough to hold a small city. They were arranged in a rough sphere, like a three-dimensional formation protecting something in the center. I'm picking up one ship that's more active than the others, Namji reported. Bigger too. Maybe their command ship. Any weapon signatures? That's another weird thing. I'm not reading any weapons at all. These ships have engines, life support, communications, but no weapon systems that I can detect. Yunhai frowned. What kind of military fleet doesn't have weapons? Maybe they're not military, Beiho suggested. The radio chatter I'm picking up, it doesn't sound like military communications. It sounds more like family conversations. What do you mean? I can't understand the words, but the tone is familiar. It sounds like people talking about daily life. Complaining about broken equipment, asking about food supplies, checking on each other's health. Namji's eyes widened as she looked at her displays. Yunhai, I think I know what we're looking at. These aren't warships. They're refugee ships. Refugees from what? Look at the age of these vessels. My scans show metal fatigue, worn hull plating, engines that have been repaired over and over again. These ships are ancient. They've been traveling for a very long time. How long? Based on the wear patterns? Maybe thousands of years. Yunhai felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold of space. These aliens weren't conquerors. They were survivors. Beiho, are you recording everything? Every signal, every frequency. Park Soo is going to have enough data to work on for months. Good. Namji, take us closer to that central ship. But slowly. If these are refugees, the last thing we want to do is scare them. As they approached the command vessel, more details became clear. The ship was massive, easily 10 kilometers long, but it showed the same signs of age and wear as the others. This fleet had been running for a very long time. I'm reading life signs, Namji reported. The ship is definitely occupied, but the population seems small, like it was built for a lot more people than are currently living on it. How many? Hard to tell exactly, but maybe a few thousand. The ship could probably hold 1 million. Beiho suddenly sat up straight. Wait, I'm getting something new. The communication pattern just changed. I think they know we're here. Are they trying to talk to us? No, they're talking to each other. And the tone has changed. They sound scared. Yunhai made a decision that would change everything. Beiho, open a channel. All frequencies. Yunhai, are you sure about this? These people have been hiding for thousands of years. They're refugees, not conquerors, and they're afraid of us. How do you know they're afraid of us? Because they threatened to destroy Earth instead of just saying hello? That's not what powerful people do. That's what desperate people do. Beiho opened the communication channel. Yunhai took a deep breath and spoke into the microphone. Unknown vessels, this is Yunhai of the Earthship Silent Thunder. We come in peace. We know you have been hiding. We know you are far from home. We want to talk. For a long moment there was only silence. Then the radio crackled to life. The voice that answered was the same one that had threatened Earth, but now it sounded tired instead of threatening. Small ship of Earth. You should not have come here. You should not have found us. Why not? Yunhai asked. Because we are not what your people think we are. We are not powerful. We are not conquerors. We are the last survivors of a dead world, and we have been hiding in your system because we have nowhere else to go. Then why did you threaten us? There was another long pause. When the voice came back, it sounded almost embarrassed. Because we have studied your species for 2,000 years. We know that humans do not respond to polite requests. We know that humans ignore warnings. But we also know that humans cannot resist a challenge. We threatened you because we wanted you to find us, but we were too proud to simply ask for help. Namji was staring at her instruments. Yunhai, I'm reading massive power fluctuations throughout their fleet. I think their ships are failing, the alien voice continued. We are dying, small ship of Earth. Our technology fails, our numbers decrease, and we have no home to return to. We made our threats knowing that your species would do exactly what we told you not to do. We gambled our last hope on human stubbornness. Yunhai looked at her crew. Namji was crying. Beiho was recording everything with shaking hands. What's your name? Yunhai asked. I am the Keeper. I am the last of the council that once governed billions. Now I govern a few thousand refugees hiding in the dark. Well, Keeper, Yunhai said, it looks like you were right about humans. We don't like being told what we can't do. But you know what else we don't like? What? We don't like seeing people suffer when we can help. And we're very good at helping, even when it seems impossible. For the first time in the conversation, the Keeper's voice changed. It sounded almost hopeful. Are you saying... I'm saying that Earth is going to want to have a very long conversation with you, Keeper. And humans are very good conversationalists. 2 weeks later, Kim Tae found himself doing something no human had ever done before, walking through the corridors of an alien spaceship. The Keeper's vessel was enormous, but it felt empty. Their footsteps echoed in hallways that were built for thousands but now held only a few dozen survivors. This way, Commander Kim, said Song-A, the diplomatic expert who had been chosen to handle first contact protocols. She was calm and professional, but Kim Tae could see the excitement in her eyes. They were making history with every step. Behind them walked Jiang Wu, a military strategist whose job was to analyze everything about alien defenses. So far, his main observation was that the aliens didn't seem to have any defenses at all. Park Soo, are you getting all this? Kim Tae asked into his communicator. Back on Earth, Park Soo was coordinating the translation efforts. Every word, Commander. The Keeper has been very helpful in teaching us their language. It's actually not that difficult once you understand the basic structure. They entered a vast chamber that must have once been beautiful. The walls were covered with what looked like living art, patterns that shifted and moved in response to the aliens' emotions. Now most of the displays were dark, showing only occasional flickers of color. The Keeper was waiting for them. He was not what Kim Tae had expected. The Keeper looked almost human, but taller and thinner, with skin that seemed to change color slightly as he moved. His clothes were simple but well made, and his eyes held the weight of someone who had seen too much. Commander Kim Tae of Earth, the Keeper said in accented but clear Korean. Welcome to the last ship of the Wanderer fleet. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Kim Tae replied through Song-A's translation device. We have many questions. As do I. Please sit. Let me tell you the story of why we are here, hiding in your solar system like thieves in the night. They sat on cushions that adjusted automatically to their bodies. The Keeper settled across from them and began to speak. My people were called the Wanderers, though that was not always our name. 3,000 Earth years ago, we lived on a beautiful world orbiting a star you cannot see from Earth. We had cities that floated in the clouds, oceans that sang with music, and technology that seemed like magic. The walls around them flickered to life, showing images of an alien world that took Kim Tae's breath away. Cities that looked like they were made of crystal and light floated among purple clouds. Vast forests grew in spirals toward the sky. What happened to it? Song-A asked softly. Our star began to die. Not quickly, as some stars do, but slowly over many centuries. Our scientists tried everything to save our world, but some things cannot be stopped. We had time to prepare, time to build ships, time to save what we could of our people and our culture. How many of you escaped? Millions. We had a fleet of 10,000 ships carrying the survivors of our civilization. We searched the galaxy for a new home, but everywhere we went, we found worlds that were already claimed or worlds that could not support life. Jiang Wu leaned forward. What happened to the rest of your fleet? The Keeper's skin darkened and the displays on the walls flickered with sad colors. Time. Disease. Accidents. the slow wearing down of ships and spirits that comes from wandering without a home. Ship by ship, my people gave up. Some settled on worlds that were not quite right and died slowly. Others simply stopped. And you? We are the last. 400 ships carrying perhaps 50,000 souls. We have been wandering for 3,000 years and we are tired. Kim Tae felt a weight in his chest. Why did you choose our solar system? Because of you, the keeper said, and for the first time he almost smiled. We detected your radio signals 2,000 years ago. We studied your species as you grew from primitive farmers to builders of cities to travelers among the stars. And we saw something in humanity that we had lost in ourselves. What did you see? Hope. Stubbornness. The absolute refusal to give up even when giving up would be sensible. We watched humans fight impossible wars, climb impossible mountains, solve impossible problems. We saw a species that grew stronger when challenged instead of weaker. Song-A was taking notes frantically. So you decided to hide here? We decided to wait here. Our ships were failing, our people were dying, but we had one hope left. We believed that someday, humans would become advanced enough to find us. And we knew that if we simply asked for help, you might say no. But if we challenged you, told you that you could not find us, we would do it anyway, Kim Tae finished. Exactly. We gambled the survival of our species on human stubbornness. We made our threats knowing that they would only make you search harder. Jiang Wu had been studying the ship's structure. Keeper, your technology is far more advanced than ours, even in its current state. Why do you need our help? The keeper gestured to the walls around them. Look closely, strategist Jiang. What do you see? Jiang Wu examined the surfaces, then his eyes widened. These aren't metal panels. They're grown. This entire ship is biological. Our technology was based on living systems. Our ships grew rather than being built. Our computers thought rather than simply calculating. But biological systems need care, need feeding, need genetic diversity to remain healthy. After 3,000 years of travel, our ships are dying of old age. And your people? The same problem. We are too few, too isolated. Our species is slowly dying out. Kim Tae understood. But humans have the one thing you need most. Yes, numbers, genetic diversity, fresh ideas, young minds that see problems differently. We have technology that could advance your species by centuries. You have the vitality that could save ours. Song-A looked up from her notes. You're proposing an alliance. I am proposing a partnership. We have detailed maps of thousands of star systems. We know the locations of habitable worlds, dangerous regions of space, and the ruins of a dozen dead civilizations. We can teach you to travel between stars as easily as you now travel between cities. And in return, help us rebuild. Help us find a new home. Help us remember what it means to have hope for the future instead of only memories of the past. Jiang Wu was shaking his head in amazement. The strategic advantages alone. Commander, with their star maps and our exploration drive, humanity could expand across the galaxy in centuries instead of millennia. Kim Tae looked at the keeper. This ancient alien who had risked everything on a gamble that humans would be too stubborn to follow orders. There's one thing I still don't understand, Kim Tae said. You could have simply asked for help. Humans aren't cruel. We would have listened. The keeper's skin changed to a color Kim Tae had never seen before, something like embarrassment mixed with regret. Commander, we are a proud species. We once ruled a star system, commanded fleets that could reshape worlds, possessed knowledge that made us seem like gods to younger races. It is difficult to admit that you need help from people you once considered primitive. Pride, Song-A said softly. Pride, the deadliest of emotions. It nearly cost us everything. But we learned something about humans that gave us hope. What? Humans do not judge others by their past glory. You judge them by what they do today. You do not care that we were once mighty. You care that we need help and you can provide it. Kim Tae stood up and extended his hand to the keeper. Then let's start providing it. The keeper looked at the offered hand for a moment, then reached out and grasped it. His grip was warm and strong. Partnership? The keeper asked. Partnership, Kim Tae confirmed. Though I should warn you, humans can be very demanding allies. We're going to want to know everything about star travel, alien technology, and those maps you mentioned. For the first time since they had met, the keeper laughed. It sounded remarkably human. Commander, I was counting on it. 6 months after first contact, the solar system had become the busiest place in human history. Everywhere Kim Tae looked, he saw humans and wanderers working together on projects that would have been impossible for either species alone. He stood on the observation deck of the new Joint Research Station orbiting Mars, watching as human engineers and Wanderer technicians worked together to repair one of the ancient refugee ships. The humans brought energy and fresh ideas. The Wanderers brought knowledge and experience. Together, they were accomplishing miracles. "Commander, you need to see this," called Li Wan from across the deck. As the new head of the Human Wanderer Technology Exchange, he spent most of his time looking amazed at something. Kim Tae walked over to where Li Wan was standing with Choi Min. The young astrophysicist had become something of a celebrity among the Wanderers, who were impressed by her ability to understand their most complex technologies. "What have you discovered now?" Kim Tae asked. "Show him, Choi Min," Li Wan said with barely contained excitement. Choi Min activated a holographic display that showed a sleek spacecraft unlike anything Kim Tae had ever seen. It looked like someone had taken the best of human engineering and Wanderer biotechnology and blended them into something entirely new. "This is the prototype for our first joint starship," Choi Min explained. "Human quantum engines powered by Wanderer bioneural systems. It should be able to travel between star systems in weeks instead of years." "How is that possible?" "The Wanderer's living ships can adapt to conditions in hyperspace that would tear apart normal metal ships. Our quantum technology provides the raw power their biosystems need to function at full capacity. Together, they create possibilities neither species could achieve alone." Kim Tae studied the design. It was beautiful and strange. Definitely alien, but somehow still recognizably human. "When can we test it?" "Next month," Li Wan said. "And guess who's been chosen as the test pilot?" Kim Tae didn't need to guess. Yun-hei. She's the logical choice. She's the most experienced pilot with stealth technology, and the Wanderers trust her. They still tell stories about how she approached their fleet without them detecting her. Across the station, Kim Tae could see Yun-hei working with a group of Wanderer engineers on what looked like a control system made of living crystal. She was laughing at something one of them had said, and Kim Tae smiled. Humans and Wanderers had turned out to be remarkably compatible peoples. "Commander Kim," came a familiar voice behind him. Kim Tae turned to see the Keeper approaching. The ancient alien looked different than he had 6 months ago. The weight of despair was gone from his shoulders, replaced by something Kim Tae had learned to recognize as hope. "Keeper, how are the integration projects going?" "Better than we dared dream. Your people's enthusiasm is infectious. My technicians are remembering what it feels like to build new things instead of simply maintaining old ones." The Keeper gestured toward the window, where they could see the construction of humanity's first interstellar colony ship. The vessel was enormous, built using principles from both species. It would carry 10,000 humans and 2,000 Wanderers to a star system the Keeper's people had identified as perfect for colonization. "Wanted to speak with you about the departure ceremony." The Keeper continued. "Is there a problem?" "Not a problem. A request. My people would like to honor human tradition for this launch. We understand that humans often give speeches before important journeys." Kim Tae nodded. "It's traditional. Would you like me to speak?" "Actually, we were hoping you would allow Park Soo to give the speech. She has become something of a bridge between our peoples, and her translations have helped both species understand each other." Kim Tae looked across the station to where Park Soo was working with a group of Wanderer linguists. Over the past 6 months, she had become fluent in 17 alien dialects and had helped create the first true human Wanderer dictionary. "I think that's a wonderful idea," Kim Tae said. "There is something else," the Keeper added, his skin shifting to colors that Kim Tae had learned indicated deep emotion. "The colony ship will carry the last of our genetic archives, the final records of our original homeworld, and the most sacred artifacts of our culture. We are entrusting you with the preservation of our entire heritage. That's an incredible honor. It is also an incredible leap of faith. We are trusting our future to a species we have known for less than one of your years." Kim Tae looked at the Keeper seriously. "Why?" The Keeper was quiet for a moment, watching the construction work outside. "Because in 6 months humans have given us something we lost long ago." "What's that?" "A future. Before you found us, we were simply waiting to die with dignity. Now we are planning to live with purpose. That is the greatest gift one species can give another." A chime sounded throughout the station, indicating that the launch ceremony was about to begin. Kim Tae and the Keeper made their way to the main assembly hall, where hundreds of humans and wanderers had gathered. Park Soo stood at the podium, looking nervous but determined. Behind her, a massive screen showed the colony ship New Horizon in its final stages of preparation. Friends, colleagues, partners, Park Soo began, her voice carrying clearly through the hall. 6 months ago we received a threat. Someone told us to stop exploring, stop searching, stop being curious about the universe around us. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Everyone knew how well that had worked. Today we launched the first ship to carry both humans and wanderers to a new world. This ship represents everything that makes both our species special: human determination and wanderer wisdom, human enthusiasm and wanderer patience, human stubbornness and wanderer grace. Kim Tae saw wanderers throughout, the audience changing to colors he now recognized, as approval and joy. The wanderers taught us that sometimes the greatest act of courage is asking for help. Humans taught the wanderers that sometimes the greatest act of wisdom is accepting help when it's offered. Together, we are stronger than either species could be. Alone, Park Soo paused and looked directly at the keeper. To our wanderer friends, thank you for taking the greatest gamble in galactic history. You bet everything on human stubbornness and you won. Now she looked at the human section of the audience. To my fellow humans, thank you for proving once again that we don't know how to back down from a challenge. Especially when someone tells us we can't do something. The laughter was louder this time, and Kim Tae saw several wanderers joining in. They had learned to appreciate human humor. The New Horizon will carry 10,000 humans and 2,000 wanderers to a star 27 light-years from Earth. They will build the first truly interspecies colony in galactic history, but more than that, they will build a future that neither species could create alone. The screen behind her lit up with an image of the target star system, showing green worlds orbiting a warm sun. To the crew of the New Horizon, you carry with you the hopes and dreams of 2 species. Make us proud. The ceremony concluded with the traditional human countdown, which the wanderers had adopted with enthusiasm. As the numbers reached 0, the New Horizon's engines ignited with a light that could be seen from every planet in the solar system. Kim Tae watched the ship accelerate toward the edge of the solar system, where it would engage its hybrid drive and disappear into hyperspace. In a few weeks, it would reach a new world. In a few years, that world would be home to a thriving colony of humans and wanderers working together. Commander, Yoon-Hae said, appearing beside him. I just got word from Earth Command. They want me to take the next test flight even further. There's a star system the wanderers call the Garden of Memories. Apparently, it contains ruins from one of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. That sounds dangerous. Yoon-Hae grinned. The same expression that had started this whole adventure. Dangerous is just another word for interesting, sir. And besides, someone needs to go out there and let the rest of the galaxy know that humans and wanderers are open for business. Kim Tae looked around the station at humans and wanderers working together, building ships, sharing knowledge, planning expeditions to distant stars. 6 months ago, Earth had been alone in the universe. Now they were part of something much larger. What message should we send to the galaxy? He asked. The same message we sent to the wanderers, Yoon-Hae replied. Don't threaten humans and tell them to stop exploring. We're very bad at following that kind of advice. But if you need help, if you're lost, if you're alone in the dark, just ask. We're very good at the impossible. As the New Horizon disappeared into hyperspace, carrying the first human wanderer colony to the stars, Kim Tae reflected on how much had changed. The aliens had threatened to destroy Earth if humans tried to find them. Instead, humans had found them, saved them, and partnered with them to reach for the stars. It was, he thought, a very human way to solve a problem. When someone tells you that you can't do something, you do it anyway, and when you succeed, you help them understand why they were wrong to doubt you in the first place somewhere out in the galaxy. Other species were probably watching and wondering what these humans and their wanderer allies would do next. Kim Tae smiled. They were about to find out that the universe had just become a much more interesting place. After all, humans were very good at making things interesting.